benefiting off of my knee. Talking out the side of your neck like you're insane. Cortisol levels to the roof, inflame. Kids these days so shameless, selling out real friends for a paycheck. Mama didn't teach them no home training. Wanna be me so bad, but they failing. Step to the plate though, I'll take a challenger. I ain't scared of no low life scavenger. I should warn you though, if you haven't heard, I ain't no Colleen, ukulele ballanger. Shots been fired, run and tell that. Say it to my face though, not behind my back. Won't be long till you share it in the group chat. And when I call you up, you're gonna backtrack. And you should've kept my name out your mouth. Fast Vivo, how it all turned out. When you try to use my name for clout, keep on going, give me something you can talk about. Hello everybody, how you doing this fine? What is it? Tuesday, October 14th, 4:21 p.m. I'm a little bit late. I have been, well, I guess not that late compared to usual, girl, but, okay, so we have some stuff to get through today. It's definitely not my best hair day of all time, girl, I'll tell you that. Okay, so that's part of the problem. Let's get started. I want to talk to y'all. Shout out to Garden State Accountability. I wanted to today, the main thing I want to do is cover the Tory Lanez case. And in addition to that, if we have time, I may get to a another incident going on with Brandon Bucci Bear, but that's like an optional. Okay. So you might already know, Tory Lanez is a Canadian born entertainment artist, singer, performing artist, like he's kind of like a talented person. He writes music, he performs music, whatever. Okay. So he's currently serving a 10-year sentence for, he was found guilty at trial for pew-pewing at another famous person, a lady named Megan Pete. Megan the Stallion is her stage name. Okay, so it's actually, one of the difficult parts of approaching this case and kind of starting it all kind of popped off back in 2020. That's when the incident happened. And then I think it was 2022. The end of 2022 was when the trial was. No, Becky, I did not finish all the transcripts, but I did go through quite a few of them. I still need to get to, I believe it's Sean Kelly. I don't know if I ever actually read his actual trial transcript. Maybe I did. I need to go back and see where we are with that. I definitely did not finish Milagro deposition transcripts. But I did recently read the Tory Lanez one himself, the one that he's been pushed through, having to do with this thing is like sprawling, and that's what I was trying to say. Is it's kind of hard to start covering this case because it's hard to get it's hard to get my hands around it, hard to get, where are we, what's going on? Because not only is this criminal case one that happened, it's on appeal now. So on top of the fact that it's on appeal now, and I think he has a very strong case on appeal, which I've made a few videos about, but also there's other cases going on now, civil cases that are sort of tangentially related, tangentially related to this this criminal case. There's like civil cases. There's Megan Thee Stallion suing somebody, like a private citizen for defamation and all of this stuff. So, and by private citizen, I mean she's not like a famous, Hollywood, whatever. So, like I said earlier, I have made a bunch of videos on this topic now. I did kind of get on to the story much later than a lot of y'all. Shout out to y'all that are in the chat that have been following the story for years. And I just got here. And really what it was it was whenever that Anna, what's her name? Anna Paulina Luna or whatever her name is. She was tweeting Nicki Minaj and she was like, Rico is illegal. And she was tweeting Nicki Minaj about, death threats and things like that. And she's retweeting Nicki Minaj and she was like, we're going to look into this Rico. I'm really startled to see what's going on in the hip hop world. I'm really startled to see what's going on in the some areas of the hip hop world is what she said. And what's going on with Tory Lanez. Basically, I mean, I don't know. That's kind of what put me onto the Tory Lanez case, I think, at first. And then, of course, like very recently in the past couple months, there was an oral argument for his appeal. His appeal is, again, I've made several videos on this. I don't really want to get into every single specific nuance, every single specific thing. I also think a lot of y'all in here already know all of this, what I'm saying. It's like, okay, girl, get to the next new thing. But I do want to lay it out here just to remind y'all what I think. And also maybe I changed my mind since the last time I said it publicly. So this is just what I think today, and I reserve the right to change my mind again. But I think he has a really strong argument for appeal for many reasons. But in my opinion, and I have never practiced as a trial lawyer. Okay. When I practiced law, which I do not do anymore, somebody actually said at the beginning of the before the live stream started, or right as the live stream was starting, like, I really hope one day that you're going to one day, like, practice law again. Like, that is highly unlikely. I mean, of course, I reserve the right to change my mind at any time, and it would be very easy for me to practice law again. All I'd have to do is take a bar exam, which I could easily do and pass easily because I've already done it before. But I don't like being a lawyer. I do not want to represent one client at a time, specifically because I don't want to work in this corrupt and decrepit system where these idiot judges who have disgusting sexual proclivities and are compromised by foreign nation states, they are the ones in charge of case. I don't want to live over there. I don't want to live in that world. I don't want to be harassed by money changers all the time. I don't want to navigate that disgusting, decrepit, degenerated world that is and has become the legal profession. And if y'all are in that legal profession right now, which I'm over here just scrolling on the internet, I gave my license back. I don't want it. Goodbye. No, thank you. I'll keep the degree though. Thanks. I don't want to be a part of that. Okay. But anyway, so there are some people that, shout out to the cousins that are still braving the braving the tough waters of that decrepit and degenerated world. So I've never practiced in trial. Now I have had to defend myself, not as a practicing attorney and not as, a lawyer on my case, but I've kind of been involved in lawsuits at this point, federal lawsuits, state level restraining order stuff. I've been involved in stuff like that. Many states, many jurisdictions. I've had to hire many lawyers. I win every time. And I'm also owed attorney's fees, and I'm also owed sanctions in case anybody wants to get any ideas. However, all that to say, when I practiced law, which wasn't for very long, I was practicing the business, the transactional, like helping businesses buy other businesses, IPOs, CPACs, SPACs, things like that. Not CPAC, SPACs, special purpose acquisition, funds, vehicles, things like that. I was doing SEC. I wasn't in court. Okay. I was definitely not doing criminal law. So I don't really know what the hell I'm talking about from experience in that way. And I think we might have found somebody that knows what they're talking about. Okay. As far as from experience in that type of way. Now, if you remember my particular analysis, I believed that the strongest, I think Tory Lanez has probably 3 arguments that independently, each one in and of itself could probably get his trial remanded back down for a new trial. I think that there's one of those 3 that, in my opinion, is a silver bullet, magic bullet, whatever you want to call it. Not only would it get the case to be overturned, thrown out, but if prosecutorial misconduct were to be found, and that doesn't just mean, do I think that it's misconduct? Do you think it's misconduct? No. It has to meet like a specific legal definition. But if they were to find that prosecutorial misconduct had taken place, then it's just a mistrial, period. Like, there's no retrial. That's it. So I also happen to think that argument for prosecutorial misconduct, in particular when it relates to the Brady material, is Tory Lanez's strongest argument. Not only because it would get him the greatest remedy, which is a prosecutorial misconduct finding and no new trial. You're just done. You're just free. You just walk free. Goodbye. You're done. But also because it's like, actually, in my opinion, from what I understand, again, I told y'all my background. I told y'all, where I'm coming from. I don't have experience in the criminal defense field as a practicing attorney or anything like that. But just from what I've learned, it seems like the magic bullet here is that there was evidence that could have helped Tory Lanez and could have exonerated him that was withheld by the government. And it wasn't just one thing, it was a few things. Number one was that fingerprint. They had run fingerprints. They had run a fingerprint analysis. They had lifted for prints or whatever, and they did find fingerprints on the weapon, the weapon in question. What they said at trial, up and until like the middle of trial, they said they had no fingerprints. That's not true. That they did. There was some fingerprints. And guess whose fingerprints weren't on there? Tory Lanez. So that's two separate things just having to do with just the fingerprints, right? One of them was that his were not on there. The other one was that they ran for fingerprints at all whenever they did not disclose that to Tory. That is a Brady violation, in my opinion. And if the prosecutors had any reason to know they had those fingerprints, which they did because it was written on a report, then I believe that that rises to the level of prosecutorial misconduct. But we're not done there. There was also the issue, again, I believe it's kind of like a Brady issue, that the jury didn't hear that his fingerprints were not on the weapon and that the government withheld it. Now, at that point, Tory Lanez's lawyer could have stood up at his closing statements or whatever and said that. But I don't even really know if he could have because it wasn't shown at trial. It was kind of sprung on them. So to me, these fingerprints and this Brady thing is the strongest argument. And then there's other arguments he has. Like I said, I think there's 3, maybe even more than that, arguments that he can get a mistrial or at least a retrial. So the other one had to do with the DNA, right? Why didn't they take Kelsey Harris's DNA and run it on the gun? That's weird to me. His DNA was not conclusively found on the gun, but it could not be ruled out. However, on the magazine, there was all kind of DNA on there. I think 4 different DNA profiles. None of them are Tory Lanez, and none of them could possibly be Tory Lanez. So there's all this evidence, and then a bunch of it was presented at trial, not presented at trial, all of that. Well, you might remember when we watched about 2 months ago the Tory Lanez oral arguments for appeal, where Crystal Morgan, Tory's current lawyer, and Tory Lanez also, his name is Daystar Peterson, but it's just easier for me to remember him as Tory Lanez. But sorry, I got distracted. So Tory Lanez's lawyer, okay, so yeah, like 2 months ago, they had oral arguments. And in the oral arguments, the lawyers argued kind of all of this stuff, but like, I really feel like she like focused so much more on this Kelsey Harris testimony. Now, if you don't know who that is, just sit tight because the video that we're going to react to today actually does discuss the story. And I think it puts it in a way that is so concise and efficient. I really have to give a shout out to this creator. And the video is linked below. I'll be doing a reaction over here. That's what I'm doing. But if y'all want to watch it without my reaction, without my commentary, without my talking and discussing or whatever, you can head on over to his channel. I'm gonna pull up in just a minute. But even when I was doing my analysis and my live reaction to the oral arguments, the Tory Lanez oral arguments, a couple months ago, back whenever they were done in August, and we're still waiting for a decision, by the way. I kind of had like I don't want to say criticism, but like it was just I was kind of like confused as to why the lawyer wasn't focusing more on the Brady violations. And I even said, and if y'all followed, then you will probably remember me saying it. I even said, like, look, listen, these are the experts. These are the people that get paid to do this. These are the people that are qualified to even be in these rooms and make these arguments. So I'm just going to assume she knows something I don't know. I'm going to just assume she knows something I don't know. She most certainly knows a lot of stuff I don't know about the trial process and all that. So I'm like, I don't know why she didn't choose to focus on the Brady stuff, the prosecutorial misconduct stuff as much as as much as the Kelsey Harris testimony that was brought in or whatever. Because in my understanding, Brady is just like this magical, like if you can show a Brady violation, then you're like, that's how Alec Baldwin got out of any trouble at all having to do with that Rust movie. Remember, somebody had passed away on set because there was a pew pew on set. And Alec Baldwin apparently allegedly pulled the trigger of the pew pew. And Alex Spiro was his lawyer. Or was it Brian Steele? No, it was Alex Spiro. So Jay-Z's lawyer. He represented Alec Baldwin in that case. And he found a Brady violation. There was like a case, a box of ammunition, which was not actually lodged in the case and turned over in evidence. It was like stored somewhere else. And come to find out, this is the box of bullets from which the bullet itself came from. Now, in that case, the prosecutors were like, I'm not sure how that got down there. We didn't even know about that. We didn't even have those bullets. We didn't even have them. We didn't know about them. We didn't know. Too bad, so sad. Mistrial, double jeopardy applies. You can't try him again. The end. Okay, so that's the kind of power that this Brady violation stuff has. So I'm like, yeah, wham, bam, let's do Brady. What about the fingerprints? But again, maybe she knows something I don't know. And now I'm getting a little bit of insight, a little bit of information as to maybe this is the thing she knew that I don't know. Okay. And again, like, I have nothing but respect for all of Tory's lawyers and all of that, except Sean Chapman Hawley. I mean, girl, I have things to say about her. But anyway, so this is a channel called Gen Z Attorney. I think I might follow him on Twitter too. But he posted this video yesterday. It only has 565 views. And I think, maybe y'all would find this to be an interesting and a good video. So I think you should go over there and check that video out and get the views up. I am going to react to it today. But it's called Tory Lanez Appeal Prediction, Criminal Lawyer Explains. And then in the thumbnail, it says he's coming home. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, wait, hold on. This is somebody with somewhat of expertise, because I never was any kind of criminal lawyer. I can tell you that. And so, get my little speaker set up here. So I thought we could, it's only 10 minutes, 10 and a half minutes long. So I thought that we could,
we're almost 60 days into the 90-day window for the court
watch it together, and I could react to it. Again, reason that I wanted to show this to y'all was because he brought up some points in this video that, in my opinion, kind of helped to give a little bit of context and background as to why it was that Crystal Morgan, Tory's lawyer, focused on the issue that she did having to do with this Kelsey Harris interview, the recorded interview. So y'all might already seen this. But if not, I would encourage you go over there. I did link it in the description box down below. And if y'all go over there, you can let them know that I sent you. I did find it to be very interesting, so I want to watch it with y'all and react to it.
Appeal, which means that every new day that comes, it gets more and more likely that it'll be decision day, and we find out whether or not Tory Lanez has in fact won his appeal. And for those of y'all following this channel for a while, y'all know I've been following the Tory Lanez case since day one, and my official prediction as a criminal attorney is that he's going to win this appeal and get a new trial. And that's mainly because of one major reason.
So
that's the reason
that's big right there. He said he believes that he's going to win. And I haven't heard any other lawyers except Tory's and me saying he's going to win. Now, again, y'all, I'm not a practicing lawyer. This guy is a practicing attorney. He is a practicing lawyer. He said he's a criminal lawyer. I do want to say thank you to Alexis. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Your insight is forever appreciated. Free Tory. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for that $10 super chat. I also want to show y'all, I don't know if y'all are into this or whatever, but I did see on Twitter the other day the merch. I don't know if y'all knew, but there's merch. There's free Tory merch on the website. And I do believe this is like a Tory, official merch store, Tory Lanez. The website is foreverumbrella.com. I'll put it in the live chat. I have been turning my live chat summaries. Who you don't trust? Wait, who you don't trust, Bombo? Because you've been around and you know what's going on. So, yeah, anyway, I did get myself a little sweatshirt, a little hoodie, but I think it's gone now, the one I got. But anyway, so yeah, y'all can get, I mean, they didn't tell me to tell y'all this. I'm not making money off of that or anything. I just didn't know if y'all knew about that over there. So, yeah, so we have a criminal lawyer saying that he thinks that Tory Lanez going to win his appeal. And oh my gosh, shout out to the Arkansas cousins in the chats. Hey, holler girl. So, well, they already did do the appeal. That's what I'm saying, Meg. They already argued the appeal. So I'm wondering if, I don't know. I've already done like so much analysis on this. Like, I don't even know like how much more I could say that would be new, but he already did do that. But the reason I wanted to show this one, shout out to AKA Savatar, shout out to the cousins in the chat. Um, he's been reviewing the case for a while, Alexis said. Um, The reason that I wanted to show y'all this is that's one reason. He has been keeping up with the case for quite some time, but also he does, and his analysis does seem to lean in the direction of Crystal Morgan's analysis, which is Tory's lawyer. And Crystal is really arguing strongly for having the case overturned, specifically, you know, she does say Brady. She does say prosecutorial misconduct. She does say cumulative effect. It's not like she doesn't argue that stuff. But when you're listening to somebody's arguments, you can tell which one they're really, really going in on and which one they're kind of like, oh yeah, and this. So shout out to Scotland cousins in the chat. So, but this lawyer right here, this attorney right here, he is kind of giving a little bit of insight as to where maybe Crystal and the rest of Tory's legal team is coming from, and what their analysis and their perspective is coming from and why. So I thought that we could watch that.
Well, we're almost 60 days into the 90-day window for the court to issue its ruling in Tory Lanez appeal, which means that every new day that comes, it gets more and more likely that it'll be decision day and we find out whether or not Tory Lanez has in fact won his appeal. And for those of y'all following this channel for a while, y'all know I've been following the Tory Lanez case since day one, and my official prediction as a criminal attorney is that he's going to win this appeal and get a new trial. And that's mainly because of one major reason, and that's the reason I'm going to break down for you today. So greetings and salutations, everybody.
So his one major reason he's going to break down today. All right. But he thinks Tory is going to win this appeal.
My name's Scotty O, aka the Gen Z attorney, and I currently work in private practice as an attorney in North Carolina, doing domestic family law litigation as well as criminal defense. And like I said, I've been following this case for the longest, and we have all been waiting with bated breath to see whether or not Tory's coming home. And so if you want to get all the big brain legal updates on this case, then be sure to drop a like down below to let me know you like the content, and subscribe to come back for more. And of course, I'd love to see y'all in the comments talking about how you feel about this case. I'll be down in there talking with y'all, so I'd love to see you down there. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. So to understand the appellate argument,
I love a lawyer saying y'all. Okay, we're off to a good start.
Is the strongest. We have to understand the facts of this case and particularly the players involved. So just to do a brief recap, I know a lot of us know this already, but this all started.
I don't know this man from Adam. Okay, I don't know him. Okay, so couldn't tell you, but I will say that he did the best job of anybody I've ever seen try to break this case down into like just a few sentences. Like it is an art. It is an art form to be able to break specifically this case down into something that's manageable. I mean, I think that's one of the things that makes this case so difficult for people to kind of start following now, because so much has happened. I'm still only know about 30% of everything that's happened. And I mean, I devoted like a whole month. A couple months ago, I devoted like weeks to trying to get on board and trying to get up to speed with this Tory Lanez case. And I just have still so much more. So that's part of the issue with the difficulty with keeping up with this case, is it's just hard to get your mind around it. But I think he does a good job of explaining the facts of the case, what we're really talking, what's the most important stuff, just to kind of understand what they're arguing on appeal and to understand why he thinks the case is going to be like Tory's going to win the appeal.
So I'd love to see you down there. But without further ado, let's jump into the video. So to understand the appellate argument that I think is the strongest, we have to understand the facts of this case and particularly the players involved. So just to do a brief recap, I know a lot of us know this already, but this all started back in 2020 when Tory Lanez was messing around sleeping with Megan Thee Stallion and also Meg's best friend, Kelsey Harris. The three of them had gone to a house party together at Kylie Jenner's house before leaving together in a car that was driven by...
Tory Lanez was messing around with two people at the same time. They were best friends. The two people were Meg Thee Stallion and Kelsey Harris. They go to a Kylie Jenner pool party one night. Got it? Let's continue.
Lanez's bodyguard, Jaquan Smith. It was inside the car that Tory Lanez revealed that he had been sleeping with both Meg and Kelsey, who were best friends, thus leading to an altercation in the car. Now, Meg swears the altercation was between her and Tory, but the facts strongly suggest that it was actually between Meg and Kelsey and actually turned.
Okay, so the secret gets out in the car, calamity ensues, and Megan starts fighting with somebody. Now, to hear Megan tell it, she was fighting with Tory Lanez. But people don't really believe that. Some people do, some people don't. And the reason some people don't is because he's about to lay it out. But it's like, she had there was a lot of evidence that two women had gotten into a fight. Specifically, there's like an acrylic nail in the street. Kelsey's strap on her tank top or whatever had broken. There were scratch marks on either, I think it was on Kelsey. He's going to get into it. But to hear Megan Thee Stallion, Megan Pete tell it, she didn't fight with Kelsey Harris. She fought with Tory Lanez.
Physical because Kelsey was covered in injuries consistent with fighting a female, such as scratch marks, claw marks, hair clumps missing, broken nails, all strongly suggesting that she had been in a fight with Meg. And in fact, there was a neighbor who testified saying that he saw two girls fighting, which, just FYI, just so we all remember, Meg is still denying to this day that her and Kelsey got into a fight that night. But either way, as the fight is happening, a gun gets involved and ends up going off. As Meg tells it, she says Tory had the gun and shot at her and she saw it all happen. But as Tory and Jaquan Smith and the neighbor all tell it, it was actually a female with the gun at first, in this case being Kelsey, and Tory went and actually wrestled the gun away from her. At this point, they all get back in the car, drive away. Police find them, get involved.
Okay, so different accounts, different stories about who had the pew pew, who pulled the trigger of the pew pew, who shot at what, where, when, how. But basically, it's undisputed that somehow the pew pew went off because the neighbors heard it, and the cops were called. And but by the time the cops were called and they were on the way, Kelsey, Jaquan the driver, Meg the Stallion, and Tory Lanez had all gotten back into the car and left, into the SUV and left. Okay, so there was a pew pew involved somehow, some way.
Arrest everybody. At that point, after the gunshots, they all got back in the car and drove away, but then police were able to find them and start investigating and arrested Tory. Obviously, we know what happened at trial. Tory Lanez ended up getting convicted and is now serving a 10-year sentence, of which he's seeking relief on in form of an appeal. And there's plenty of new facts that have come out that would help Tory in a new trial. Things like Jaquan Smith and his testimony about what happened that night. Remember, he was the bodyguard inside the car, as well as Bradley James.
So he gets into talking about some of the new evidence that has come out since the trial. Amanda. Yes, Amanda's awake. There was also a broken necklace. I'm leaving a lot of details out, y'all. I do understand and acknowledge, I'm not saying every detail. But there was a fingernail somewhere. On Gail, she wasn't fighting with anybody. Now Meg has come out also and changed her story as well. Somebody's getting sued right now for defamation because they called Meg Thee Stallion a liar, among other things. So I'm not going to call her a liar. What I am going to say is she herself specifically, explicitly stated that she lied to Gayle King. She lied on Gayle King. Gayle King is Oprah's, bestiana or whatever. It's her best friend or whatever over there. And Meg Thee Stallion did an interview with Gayle King, and she said that she did not have any relations, what type of relations with Tory Lanez. But then, come to find out maybe she did. So then she was like, I did lie. Okay. So somebody's getting sued for calling her a liar, among other things. But I'm not gonna call her a liar. I'm gonna definitely say, though, all the different versions of Meg Thee Stallion, aka Megan Pete's stories on whether or not she stepped on glass, whether or not she was hooking up with Tory Lanez, and whether or not whoever it was that shot her, who she saw shot her, didn't, or whatever. I mean, these things seem to have kind of changed over time, at least as far as from what I understand. Hi, Alex Spiro. I know you watch my videos and stuff. If I got it wrong, just send me an email. You know my email address. And I'll be happy to correct the record. But that's how I understand it. That is how I understand it. And so, in my opinion, Meg Thee Stallion wasn't really that credible a witness because she had already impeached herself. She had impeached her own credibility whenever she told all these different versions of the story. So that only leaves a few other people who were there that night. There's only three other people who were in a car. That's Tory, That's Kelsey, and that's the bodyguard or the driver, Jaquan. So Jaquan did not testify at trial. Boom, that gets rid of somebody else. And when I say boom, that gets rid of, I mean, if Meg the Stallion's credibility is compromised, which it was impeached because she had different versions of the story, then that doesn't leave much else. Now, for better or worse, Tory Lanez also he didn't testify, okay, which is his right. That's his constitutional right. Many criminal defendants, I don't know, maybe most of them don't testify, so that's not something unusual. It's something that's his right. The state has the burden of proof to prove a crime happened and to prove who did it beyond a reasonable doubt. No problem. However, that only leaves really like one other person who's going to be able to testify because Jaquan didn't testify. Megan the Stallion's impeached. So what do we have left? Kelsey. So really, there's some video surveillance footage from after the fact. There's some different evidence from during the party, the pool party. There's Snapchats or, whatever, FaceTime pictures, whatever it is. But like none of us were there and it wasn't really caught on camera. Then there's this neighbor that kind of saw it. His story changes. So we really have an issue of credibility here. And then what this lawyer is about to get into, Gen Z attorney is about to get into, is like, oh, okay, wait. I see what you mean. I see what maybe Crystal Morgan is coming from, why she's focusing more on this than Brady. But I mean, listen, look, again, I would focus on Brady just because I thought that was the most, smoking gun, silver bullet, type of thing. But this, again, was an interesting analysis. I did also really appreciate his efficient and quick summary of the facts.
Seeking relief on in form of an appeal. And there's plenty of new facts that have come out that would help Tory in a new trial. Things like
I left this out like on purpose because I'm really not trying to get too far off in the weeds. But right, Kelsey's story as well has changed. Not only did her story change, some other stuff happened, but we're going to get into it in this part of the analysis on this video. He actually gets into it, so we'll listen.
Smith in his testimony about what happened the night. Remember, he was the bodyguard inside the car, as well as Bradley James, who was Kelsey Harris's bodyguard during the appeal. And there's plenty of new facts that have come out that would help Tory in a new trial. Things like Jaquan Smith in his testimony about what happened the night. Remember, he was the bodyguard inside the car, as well as Bradley James, who was Kelsey Harris's bodyguard during the trial. Bradley James has put as sworn testimony in an affidavit that he overheard Kelsey admit that she was the one who had the gun and shot it, and she didn't know how to say that without incriminating herself. So there's definitely
at trial, Kelsey Harris gets up on the stand, and I mean, she's kind of like the only other possible person who anybody's looking at like might be a suspect. And they did not run her DNA against the gun, but you know what they did do? They ran the gunshot residue analysis on her hands, and she did have gunshot residue on her hands. So she could really incriminate herself if the state were to eventually come after her for these charges. What if anything she said on the stand could have been used against her? So once she gets up on the stand, she clams up. She's like, I don't want to incriminate myself. I plead the fifth. Well, the only problem with that is that she did answer some questions. And the questions she answered were like very obvious. She basically admitted that she lied, she didn't tell the truth or whatever in a previous interview that she had done with the government. Like, yes, gunshot residue was on Tory's hands. Yes, gunshot residue was on Tory's hands. Gunshot residue was on Kelsey's hands. Tory's DNA was not on the magazine, and his DNA was inconclusive as to the gun. His fingerprints were not on the magazine. His fingerprints were not on the gun, and the jury never heard those last two facts. Now, why wasn't Kelsey Harris's fingerprints run, or were they? And is that why they didn't? What did those fingerprint analyses say? You know what I mean? I don't know. Again, this is all stuff that's like open and shut Brady. I mean, if your fingerprints, if you're standing trial and the government is accusing you of something and they have a fingerprint analysis and your fingerprints ain't on the gun and they just keep that from you until the middle of the trial, I think you might have something to say about it too. And I've always said, I don't know. I don't know who shot this pew pew. What I do know is that had the jury had all of the available evidence, I believe they could have reached a different outcome. They could have reached a different outcome. On top of the fact they didn't even run the gun to try to figure out and ascertain who the gun belonged to. That's pretty important as well. But on top of all of these problems that happened at trial, there's been like new facts, newly discovered evidence that's come out in the form of different affidavits. Kelsey apparently admitted right in front of her security guard during the trial that she was the one who did it. And she was just so glad it's over. She did it, but she's glad it's over and she got immunity or whatever. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but it does count as evidence if that guy's, willing to or would have been willing to make those statements. None of that's going to matter at all, most likely, unless it actually does go back to a new trial. And remember, y'all, this is not the final court of appeal. I think if this case doesn't get turned back down or remanded back down to the lower court, I do think the Supreme Court actually probably would take this case because it stands for such I think a fundamental violation of Tory Lanez's rights to equal protection under the law and specifically fair trial. And his right to have meaningful defense, his right to have awareness of all the information that he needs to defend himself. There's all these rights that I think are implicated. So even if the appeals court is like, no, denied, I think the Supreme Court might actually pick this case up. I do.
Facts that have come out that really help Tory's side of the case. But that's not actually the big argument that I'm relying on for saying that I think this will get remanded on appeal. After reading through the briefs and watching the appeal oral arguments live, to me, the single biggest argument that strongly supports the finding of remanding this case for a new trial is the fact that the judge allowed Kelsey Harris's recorded interview to be played in court in front of the jury. Just so we all understand on this, as I just laid out, Kelsey was intimately involved with every.
So the thing he said he has the biggest deal with and the thing he thinks is the biggest issue is that the judge allowed Kelsey Harris's recorded audio to be played in front of the jury in open court. Remember, I just told y'all when Kelsey Harris came to court to testify, she pled the fifth. She wasn't really answering a lot of questions. The questions that she was answering, she was saying, no, I lied earlier when I told y'all different. Now I'm telling, I plead the fifth. I'm telling the truth now. I was lying earlier. I don't know what I said. I said a bunch of stuff. Now, it was actually painful to read through the testimony. I mean, it was like, another credibility shot. But this, I'm sorry, I get distracted by y'all's live chat comments. But this guy, he's saying he thinks the biggest problem, the biggest issue was that the judge allowed, whenever Kelsey was like, okay, I don't remember what I said. I don't remember, saying that, et cetera, et cetera. Then the prosecutors, they kept saying, well, would it refresh your recollection to play this video out in front of you and then you could be reminded of what you said? And she was like, no, I don't think that would refresh my recollection or whatever, but I think you could try. And then they ended up getting the judge to agree to allow them to just play the entire like hour something long interview with Kelsey because she was just not testifying to the same ways that she had testified earlier when she did meetings with the prosecutors. But the lawyer at the trial did make a bunch of objections. He said, and Tory's lawyer was like, first of all, I don't have the transcript to this. Second of all, they never said that they were going to put this into the record like this. This is not this is basically like just letting her testify from 3 months ago without having the opportunity. So the lawyer, without having the opportunity to confront or to disagree or to really ask her anything on that, this isn't the way it's supposed to work. If anything, refreshing your recollection is supposed to be played like not in front of the jury. The jury isn't supposed to see that or hear that. There was a bunch of arguments and there was a bunch of fuss made over this Kelsey Harris interview being played in court. But the interview was played in court, which did appear to violate at least some of the judge's own rules. The judge was like, okay, well, we're going to do it like this today. He changed the rules on this one day for this one trial. It looked very weird to me. Again, it was like almost painful to just sit there and listen to and read through the transcript. So he's saying he thinks the biggest issue is that interview being played. And here's his analysis of why.
remanding this case for a new trial is the fact that the judge allowed Kelsey Harris's recorded interview to be played in court in front of the jury. Just so we all understand on this, as I just laid out, Kelsey was intimately involved with every core fact within this case because she was there and she witnessed everything. And initially, prosecutors believed she was going to testify in court and corroborate Meg's story because Kelsey came in and sat with prosecutors and sat with the police and gave an interview where she was recorded. And during this interview, she did largely corroborate Meg's story, which is that Tory had the gun and Tory was the one who shot at Meg. It was a 70-something minute interview, so it was a long interview, and it gave prosecutors what they thought was their open shut, slam bang silver bullet for the case. And so naturally, prosecutors called Kelsey Harris to testify during the trial, expecting her to largely.
Okay, so he's basically reiterating they interviewed her out before the trial started. They interviewed Kelsey in this room, on camera, whatever. She did a good job as far as the prosecutors were concerned. The prosecutors were like, yeah, that's going to be star witness. We're going to use her. We're going to get her to say the same stuff over again. Once we get her to court, once trial starts, we're going to get her to say the same stuff again. Wham, ma'am, thank you, ma'am. Let's get her on the bench.
What she said during the interview and corroborate Meg's story. The only problem was when Kelsey took the stand at trial, she actually openly said that she lied during that recorded interview and she lied to protect herself. And then beyond that, any other questions she was asked about that night, she ended up pleading the fifth, which means when you plead the Fifth Amendment, you're saying, if I answer this question truthfully, as I'm obligated to do, being under oath, I could incriminate myself criminally. So instead, I'm going to plead the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination and choose not to answer. So yeah, when she's on the stand under oath, under cross-examination, saying that she lied during her recorded interview to protect herself and that she has to plead the fifth about what happened that night, that sends off a lot of alarm bells about what actually happened that night and whether or not we should believe Meg's story, and especially as it was corroborated by Kelsey. And so this was a curveball that no one expected at trial, and even Tory Lanez' team couldn't do much with it because when they tried to cross-examine her and ask her questions, she once again was pleading the fifth and not answering. And so in a sane, normal world, Kelsey Harris would basically be treated as a nullified witness. Her testimony means nothing because when you plead the fifth, it's not supposed to be treated as, oh, you did something guilty. The technical legal interpretation of how you're supposed to take it when someone pleads the fifth is that it just doesn't affect anything one way or another. And so for her contribution to the case, Kelsey Harris should be treated as having no contribution. That should have been it right then and there. But the prosecutors couldn't just let go their star witness like that. And so what they made a motion to do was to play the entire recorded interview.
So what he's saying isn't that it would necessarily, I don't think, have to have been taken as if it meant nothing. But I think, I don't know. I don't exactly know. Maybe I'm misinterpreting. Maybe I just don't get it. So somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But what I think it is like the jury is allowed. The jury is allowed to hear, the different versions of a story that someone told, and they're allowed to either take parts of it. They're allowed to disregard everything that person ever said. They're allowed to decide the credibility of the testimony. So in the Kelsey Harris case, when she got up there on the stand and she was basically like, I don't remember, I don't recall, I never said that, I lied, then the jury was just supposed to hear that. They were not supposed to be able to sit there and hear the entire 70-minute interview having to do with when Tory's lawyers didn't even have any transcript of this at the time, or maybe they eventually got it, but whenever it was proposed in the middle of the trial, this was not being offered up for that purpose. The lawyers did not have enough time. Tory's lawyers did not have enough time to object, I think, properly to all of these things. She wasn't cross-examined during the interview. So what he's going to get into has to do with the Sixth Amendment confrontation clause. Now, again, to my understanding, in my opinion, I think that the Brady violation, the Brady prosecutorial misconduct thing, is a bigger silver bullet smoking gun type thing than just like the confrontation clause. However, the confrontation clause is huge. It's in the Sixth Amendment, which was what gives you the right to an attorney, or like to meaningfully participate in your trial and for your attorney to be present at all meaningful stages of the trial. So the Sixth Amendment for a trial defendant is one of the big ones. Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, Sixth Amendment. These are big, big protections. So he's saying the confrontation clause comes in, it clicks in the Sixth Amendment.
video for the jury as a substitute for Kelsey Harris's testimony. And of course, Tory Lanez defense team objected to that for reasons I'm about to get into, but the
So
judge
I went back.
doesn't affect anything one way or another.
I went back, like, 15 seconds or something, just so y'all can hear his line of analysis.
So for her contribution to the case, Kelsey Harris should be treated as having no contribution. That should have been it right then and there. But the prosecutors couldn't just let go their star witness like that. And so what they made a motion to do was to play the entire recorded interview for the jury as a substitute for Kelsey Harris's testimony. And of course, Tory Lanez defense team objected to that for reasons I'm about to get into.
Right.
But the judge overruled their objection and let the video play for the jury.
Right.
And to me, that is just a completely flagrant constitutional violation and is going to be a sufficient grounds for the appellate court to remand the case for a new trial. I don't think they're going to vacate the conviction entirely.
So what he's saying, that's what I thought too. I thought if they did remand on this particular issue, if they overturn the ruling on this particular issue, declared him a retrial or whatever, it would not be a smoking gun bullet enough to be like, no, that's Brady. That's prosecutorial misconduct. That's the prosecutors keeping evidence from him that would have helped him. It not could have, would have helped him. It would have helped him if the jury knew his fingerprints were not on that weapon. It would have helped him if the jury knew. It would have helped him if he knew at a proper time. He didn't even know. He didn't even know until the middle of trial that they had lifted fingerprints off the weapon in the magazine, and none of them were his. Okay. It would have helped him. And so the fact that the prosecutors, the cops rather, the state had that fingerprint information, but did not turn it over to Tory Lanez or his attorneys in a proper, adequate time is a Brady violation, in my opinion. And it should just kick the legs out from under the entire conviction. I mean, it could actually result in serious trouble for the prosecutors, even. Probably wouldn't, but it would open the door up for that. Now, this other thing, this confrontation clause thing, is a little bit more like, yeah, now we got to go back down and do the whole trial over again. Whereas if it's just Brady violation, prosecutorial misconduct, from my understanding, it would have just been smoking gun, you done. Like, you done. Good. No, you're Alec Baldwin Rust trial situation. But he's saying here that what I thought, which is that it wouldn't be a mistrial double jeopardy situation if it gets turned over on confrontation clause grounds. However, I mean, that I guess that's better. I guess a retrial at the lower level is better than nothing. Again, if I'm Tory Lanez, I'm asking them to go full Brady, because I think, in my opinion, that they have a strong case for that.
Play for the jury. And to me, that is just a completely flagrant constitutional violation and is going to be a sufficient grounds for the appellate court to remand the case for a new trial. I don't think they're going to vacate the conviction entirely. I think when you have a violation like this, the appropriate remedy is going to be remand it, send it back for a new trial, but exclude that course of action. So exclude that video entirely. If Kelsey Harris, you can call her to testify, but if she pleads the fifth again, then there's really not much you can do, but you definitely cannot play that video for the jury. Okay. And the reason I'm saying this is because of a constitutional provision called the confrontation clause. It's part of the Sixth Amendment, and it's a really important clause for criminal prosecution because it gives a criminal defendant the right to confront their accuser, hence why it's called the confrontation clause. So what does confrontation look like? It means you have to know who's actually accusing you, and you have to have an opportunity to actually cross-examine them and call into question their testimony in open court in front of the jury. Because it's real easy to make any story.
That's the whole reason that we have cross-examination. When we followed the Diddy trial, we sat and watched, whatever the witness would be, Deontay Nash. He stood up there and sat up there, or Dawn Richard. She sat up there and did her testimony on the one side, the eggs against the skillet against the wall, the throwing the eggs, the beating Cassie, the dragging up the stairs. But then Nicole Westmoreland had her turn to go up there as Diddy's counsel and to ask her questions. And she really did rip into Dawn Richard. So that is the whole point of a cross-examination, in particular in a criminal trial, to make sure that you, as a criminal defendant who the government's trying to take away your rights, take away your liberties, take away your inalienable freedoms, that, you've had a chance to really vet through. Anybody could sit up there and say anything, really. You got to have your chance to vet that out. You got to have your chance to confront that accuser, because that is what they are doing. Even if they're not the victim or the person suing or the person who made the claim, if they're sitting up there for the government and they're testifying in a way that makes it look like you did something illegal, you have the right to question them and ask them. It's called confrontation. You're allowed to, through your lawyer, or I mean, if you want to do pro se, you can do it too. But to confront the accuser. And this has been interpreted to mean many things, not just cross-examination. This means, the accuser has to put their name in the court filing. You have to know who's suing you. You have to know who's testifying against you. Now, there's always exceptions to things, but this is generally, and to my understanding, how it works.
Clause. So what does confrontation look like? It means you have to know who's actually accusing you, and you have to have an opportunity to actually cross-examine them and call into question their testimony in open court in front of the jury. Because it's real easy to make any story sound good when there's only one side telling their version of events, but when you actually cross-examine them and point out the inconsistencies and logical incoherence, that's a really valuable tool, and cases are won and lost on your ability to cross-examine in a hostile manner opposing witnesses. So the confrontation clause is super strong, very important constitutional provision. And to me, it was completely violated here because Tory Lanez has a right to confront his accusers. In this case, it'd be Kelsey Harris. She was a witness for the state, therefore she's one of his accusers. And so the first prong of that has been met because, of course, she's not anonymous. He knows who she is. That part was clearly met.
So
but the part of the conversation,
like I said, this has been interpreted to mean many things, including, for example, you have to know who's making allegations against you. In this case, Tory Lanez did, and he does because it's Kelsey. But there's other considerations to take. There's other factors to take into consideration.
That was not met was the ability to cross-examine. Because Tory Lanez and his team were not present for this interview that Kelsey gave to the prosecutors. If they had been present for that interview and they were able to ask her opposing questions and cross-examine her in that space, combined with swearing her to make her under oath during that interview, then you would not have a confrontation clause violation. The fact that you have a pretrial interview, unsworn and not subject to cross-examination, and that was the thrust, that was the basis for Kelsey Harris's entire testimony.
What does unsworn mean? It's unsworn? It was like not, I thought it was. I guess sworn does, what does unsworn mean something specific? I thought it just meant that she swore to tell him the truth, but I guess apparently she didn't. Maybe that's just an assumption I'm making. But he's saying, look, it's not just that they, it's not just, okay, they did an interview with her. No. It was that nobody from Tory's side was there to ask any follow-up questions. So basically they prepackaged this interview that they liked and then they played it for the jury. But Tory didn't really meaningfully have any opportunity to question her back on it. Now, look, listen, just to be fully fair, if I'm the other side, I'm going to argue, yes, he did. He had the opportunity to question her. Look, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling y'all what types of arguments to expect, what types of things to expect. He did eventually the next day on the day where they played the tape, I think that they did finally give a transcript that morning. Now, on the other hand, Tory's side can argue, yeah, they were supposed to give it 30 days before trial. That's nowhere near enough time that morning. Fair. I already told y'all I do agree with it. Okay. So again, please don't shoot the messenger. I'm just trying to explain to y'all my understanding of things. Okay. I thought she swore to tell the truth during the interview, but I guess they saying no, she didn't. So because Tory Lanez's lawyers and Tory Lanez himself weren't there while this person was making accusations against him, and they weren't able to confront this accuser, and then by the time they did have the opportunity to confront her, was under oath, and she had pled the fifth, but basically what his lawyer is saying, this attorney is saying, that shouldn't have been played out in front of the jury, period. Maybe they could have asked her some questions about what she said, but playing it out like that without having any pushback in the actual video itself for the jury. And then the jury also relied on the tape. They asked for it in the jury deliberations. They asked for that tape. They wanted to watch it again. So they did rely on it, or there, all indications are that they did because they specifically requested it.
At the case, because she didn't testify in court where she was under oath and where she could be cross-examined, That's really serious, and that's a huge constitutional violation in my opinion. And so I think that's going to be sufficient grounds to overturn this case on appeal. But that does leave one other legal doctrine I do want to touch on briefly, and that is called the harmless error doctrine, which applies to appellate cases.
Yeah.
Basically what it says is that even if there was an error that happened in the district court level, the trial court level, the error was so small that it was harmless in the sense that it did not affect the outcome of the case. And that's something that the appellate prosecutors tried to argue here. Well, first off, they really didn't touch the confrontation clause question at all. But in large part, they did raise this harmless error doctrine to say that even if the court were to find that these are violations that happened during the trial, none of them were big enough, or even in their totality, they're not big enough to have actually affected the outcome of the case. But I just wholeheartedly reject that because the jury sent out questions when they were back deliberating, asking about Kelsey's recorded interview and even asking to watch it again. Well, obviously, they're relying on her testimony as the only other person who testified that was actually there as part of the car because Tory Lanez did not testify and his bodyguard Jaquan Smith did not testify. So it was just Meg and Kelsey and then a neighbor who saw part of it were really the only ones who could testify to the actual fight and the actual shooting. And the jury was really interested in that, which is why they were sending out questions and asking to watch the video again. But to me, that strongly suggests that the jury was relying on this in forming their opinion, and that because they voted guilty, that allowing them to see this video by Kelsey Harris did in fact affect their opinion. And because that was a wrongful showing of that video, that is not a harmless error, that is a harmful error, and it did affect the outcome of the case. And admittedly, yes, there's other reasons that this could be overturned on appeal.
So
there were plenty of
he kind of did the same thing of the other side of the argument, which, you know, lawyers do need to do. And I think just especially like law tubers, I feel like it's kind of irresponsible for law tubers to not like prepare people for like the arguments that were made and stuff. So again, please don't shoot the messenger. I'm just trying to tell y'all how I understand it to be working. But there's a possibility that even if the appeals panel finds that, for example, he wasn't able to exercise the confrontation clause because of this Kelsey Harris cross-examination situation, that basically the panel, the appeals court could decide, oh, well, he still would have been found guilty anyway. Which does happen sometimes. That is what the appeals court sometimes will do. They'll say, I see where he's coming from, but it's a harmless error in the grand scheme of things because he would have been found guilty anyway because look at all this other evidence. In this case, y'all, I really don't see it. There's not a lot of evidence. A lot of the evidence went missing or, wasn't run through the serial number checker, or like the gun wasn't checked for everybody's DNA and now nobody can check for that DNA. Like where's you can't check for Kelsey's DNA on the gun anymore. You can't. It's over. They're not able to do it. They could only run the DNA check on one time. Now, why didn't they check for her DNA in the first run? That's weird. I mean, there's so much stuff where it's like there could have been evidence, but there just isn't. The bullet fragments are missing, gone to the wind. Okay, so gone with the wind. So, I mean, it's all kind of stuff's just missing, is not here. So, I don't know that the appeals court, and I believe the reason that this appeals court decision is taken so long is because this is a very, very good argument. There's so many different reasons why this thing could get overturned. I think one way or the other, better or worse, they're making sure that they're crossing their T's and dotting their I's with this decision. That is genuinely what I believe. Now, again, I'm not out here betting money on anything because I think this is the most corrupt and decrepit system in the most corrupt, I'll say, category of states, okay, in this whole entire country. So I'm definitely not placing my bets anywhere. But if we really caring about a fair trial, then I don't think Tory Lanez got a fair trial, and I think he deserves one. Again, it's not over till the Supreme Court sings, okay? But he may just very well be looking at a new trial in the next 30 days. We might hear that coming down the way. We might.
That were raised in the brief. I just think the confrontation clause one was the strongest because from watching the oral arguments, the state prosecutors, they had no response to the confrontation clause at all. And so if I had to pick one argument as to why this case would get remanded for a new trial, it would be the confrontation clause. And I think that's actually a really good thing. Obviously, the thing we want most would be to completely vacate the conviction, to overturn the case entirely.
Which would happen.
That's going to happen here.
which would happen if they went harder on Brady. I really think they should have argued on Brady. Now, it may have been that just because, it wasn't argued, Brady wasn't brought up at any time to preserve for it, they might have lost that argument. But I thought Brady was sua sponte. Like, it's such an egregious thing. Like, judges are allowed to raise it at any time and say, why didn't you give the, appeals court? I don't know. I haven't studied this 7 years. I did not practice this type of law. That's why I wanted to show y'all this opinion from Gen Z attorney.
Remand for a new trial, I think, is almost as good as a not guilty, because with all the new evidence that's come out between Jaquan Smith and his affidavit and Bradley James and his affidavit, we've got a lot more evidence
So
that
what he's
supports
saying is that it's actually a lot stronger. Like, let's say, he's saying that he wants there to be, he would like it if there was an overturn and there was no more trial and it's just done, it's vacated, it's over. He said, but listen, fret not, because it's going to actually be, on top of the fact that they're not going to be able to do that Kelsey Harris thing again, if that's the reason they overturn it, there's more evidence now for this trial that's helpful to Tory Lanez. First of all the evidence they found out about that they didn't know about, the Brady material. But also there's like more statements. Jaquan Smith can come and testify, the driver. There's more impeachment evidence. There's more different versions of the story that have cropped up, and stuff like that. Meg Sal said, I've never seen Brady not work out for the defense. Meg, tell me if it is it something that your lawyers at trial have to bring up? Or is it like a sua sponte type of thing where it's like the judges see a miscarriage of justice from Brady and it's prosecutorial misconduct and then they get rid of it? Is it a sua sponte thing, or is it has to be raised by the lawyer on? That's the only reason I can think why they're not pounding the Brady pavement a little harder.
out of the case that, I mean, in the first go around, I already thought there was way more than enough reasonable doubt in the case, but now there's gaping black holes of reasonable doubt that are all throughout this entire case. And so just getting a remand for a new trial, assuming that Tory's trial team is competent and able to defend him semi-competently, then yes, I think this is going to be as good as a not guilty. But let me know what you think. Do you think this appeal is going to get overturned? It's really going to be any day now that we're going to get the news on this, so we're waiting with bated breath and anticipation. But yeah, let me know down below what you think about the case and the appeal. Love to hear what y'all have to say about it. And if you learned something.
So shout out to him for that analysis. It definitely, at the very least, like allowed me to understand a little more information about why, Crystal Morgan and Tory's legal team focus a lot more on the confrontation clause, because it does seem like this particular thing is like a big deal with the trial lawyers. And, he has experience as a criminal lawyer and I do not. So I saw T with Tia was in gaping. That's what he said. I saw T with Tia was in here saying that because Kelsey Harris pled the fifth, they couldn't cross-examine her. I did not realize that that's. Oh, I think I see what you mean. You mean like she just kept saying, I pled the fifth, I pled the fifth, I pled the fifth, instead of answering questions. Is that what you mean? I do know that Kelsey Harris's testimony on the actual stand ended up being useless pretty much, because she changed her story so much. I mean, basically her and Meg Thee Stallion both completely impeached themselves, in my opinion, from what I understand from reading the trial transcripts, by just like telling different versions of the story publicly all along the way and different versions of the story to the actual authorities all along the way. Now, whose story did not change not once along the way, incidentally, was Tory Jane Lanez. Okay, so I mean, his story pretty much stayed exactly the same the whole time. He never changed his story. So maybe I'm forgetting something, because it was all a blur, a little bit. But I did want to show y'all that. Thanks so much, Life of Samad, for the $1.99 super chat. She has an interesting relationship with the truth. It's an interesting relationship indeed. Thanks so much for the £1.99 super chat. So, speaking of that, I did have some more news to share with y'all pertaining to another aspect of this case, which is the civil case. Now, this is the one where Megan Thee Stallion is suing Milagro, who was like a blogger, for defamation and stuff like that. And they have been trying to get Aiden Ross in a deposition. They have deposed already, and these are the same lawyers or the same law firm as the ones that would have been representing Megan Thee Stallion in the criminal case. So like the web is webbing all over the place. And DJ Academics has already done one deposition. They're trying to get him to do another one. I think they actually did get him to do another deposition, so they're going to be able to do another one with him, or maybe they already have. Aiden Ross, they also have been trying to get into a deposition. They tried to send a mariachi band, Jay-Z and Rock Nation or somebody, I don't know who. The rumor is that it's Rock Nation. Tried to send a mariachi band to serve Aiden Ross, like trick him or lure him to coming out of his house to get the subpoena for it to come to the deposition. And he's trying to get a protective order. Then at the same time, DJ Academics is saying that they have people, private investigators staked out outside of his house and all of that and stuff like that. Well, I'm telling you one thing right now. If somebody's staked out of my house, I'm turning my phone on live. I'm going outside. I'm interviewing them right now. One time they had a cop like 2 houses down just sitting there, and he came a few days in a row, and I'm like, I'm going over there. Went over there with my camera, and I said, hello, hi, what's your name and badge number? What's going on? I live in this neighborhood. It's kind of freaking me out that there's just a cop just sitting right here down the block, down the way. Are you here for me? What? Here I go. He said, oh, no, there was an incident that happened down there and around the corner and this and that the other day. And so I'm there for that. I said, okay, well, maybe you can move your patrol car a little closer to over there then. Y'all already know what happened when that degenerated freak subpoena, the process server came to my house. The degenerated freak who came to my house, and she was sitting in her decrepit car in front of my driveway for I don't even know how long. I went right out there with my camera, or somebody did. Hey, hi, what are you doing? Can you leave? Why are you just sitting there? So I'm gonna tell you one thing. I'm not going on Twitter and talk about it with Aiden Ross after the fact. No, we going live, and whoever's out and around my driveway is getting on camera, and then I'm calling the cops, and that's gonna be on camera too. Nobody better be staked out in front of my shit. I'm gonna tell you that. I pay enough damn property taxes. I'm telling you one thing. Nobody better stake out over here. You better be doing it disguised as a squirrel or a deer or something. But anyway, Academics did not do that. He instead took to Twitter, or took to the Streamathon or whatever with Aiden Ross. So let me let y'all hear what Academics had to say about the Rock Nation Jay-Z tactics that have been thrusted upon him and his employees. Allegedly. I wasn't there. I don't know if that's true. That's what he said.
Yo, Jay-Z, you got it, gang. I ain't gonna lie to you. Jay, yo, what a white fuck.
Can't go against a billionaire.
I need a white flag. Yo, Jay, you got it. Yo, Jay got like 3 cars in front of my house just like sitting there.
Nigga say you need a white flag.
I need a white flag. I'm done. Y'all got it, man.
Free to real, yeah.
Yeah, them gonna need our ID.
They said a 5. You said what?
3 cars ain't gonna be just sitting there outside of my house. That's a promise.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Jay, yo,
that's a promise. 3 cars are not gonna be sitting outside of my house. That's a promise. You know who don't got 3 cars outside their house? Me. You know who don't got 1 car outside their house? Me. I don't know what people are so scared to call a cop for, but if you can call a cop because a body was stinking in a trunk, you can call the cops if there's 3 cars outside your house. I don't know what people are so scared to call the cops for, because if somebody puts somebody outside my house, I'm calling the cops. I'm going live, and I'm going to be live streaming that person's face the whole time till they leave. Then I'm going to re-upload. I'm going to re-upload every day. I know y'all saw me getting followed around the mall that one time by that Serbian or that Eastern European or whatever that thing was. And I sure did put that thing's picture in that video right up on the internet, and I'll do it again. And I'll do it again. I might put it back up tomorrow again. I might keep posting it. Nobody is about to scare me, threaten me, or intimidate me. No, they're not. And that brings me to something else I wanted to talk about. This has really nothing to do with what I'm talking about today, except it kind of does. And this is the segue. This is the Bucci Bear casting a spell fiasco. I learned about this from my cousin yesterday.
I don't care nothing about that, bro.
Listen to this. Speaking of intimidation tactics.
Shout out Mama Neem. Say that I didn't. Always pressing my line for me to be better. You know what I'm saying? You was wondering about the spells. Here you go, cousin BJ.
Okay. So
Hold
now
up,
we're going
hold
to
up,
talk segue. This does relate to what we were just talking about, but it's a different person. But it's more of just like, no, we're not going to be doing threats. No, we're not. Okay. No, we're not. And this is the level that these degenerated freaks have to go to try to mess with people. Now, look, listen, DJ Academics can like catch his own fate or whatever. Look, listen, I'm not a DJ Academics apologist. He doesn't even like me. He told me to shut up during the Diddy trial. Okay, so we're not like besties by any means. But that being said, nobody's about to threaten me. Okay. He gave 45 more minutes. Thank you, San. The judge got on Megan's lawyers during the academic case in DJ Academics case in New Jersey. The judge basically said, y'all had 7 hours and you should have been asking the appropriate questions and not questions that were not for this case. Because they were asking about everything. Nicki Minaj and Drake and this and that. Yes, Bucci, yes. They should have been asking questions. They got 45 more minutes with DJ Academics in chambers. Yeah, Bucci Bear. Disempowered people can only use threats because they have nothing else that'll come back on them, guaranteed 100%. And it's going to come back way more than any little puny little poo-poo pew-pew the power that you tried to put up in there. Oh, look at this freak. Not my cousin. Shout out to my cousin. This is not the freak. The freaking question's coming up. He was casting spells. So I was like, who? Who's casting spells?
I like my new like camera shit.
I was like, who's casting spells? I want to know. I want to know. And then Naeem, he was pulling it up.
I like being in the top of the joint. I mean, in the middle of the screen. I don't know why I like that.
Okay, here's Brandon
Bucci or nothing.
Bear.
I think some of the stuff you do is kind of crazy.
This
like
guy is, you don't need to. It's truly not important. He was one of the side characters on No Jumper, but now he don't work there no more. Okay, that's the end. That's the whole thing. He might be a secret fed. I think he may possibly have worked as law enforcement, but I'm still not sure if that was debunked as a joke or something. But anybody and everybody over there could be a possible fed. Okay, anybody and everybody over there could be flipped into a federal asset at any point. If y'all have not done the research and on the history of COINTELPRO, I highly suggest you do so. But this is like a guy from No Jumper or whatever, okay? He's not on there anymore, but he's still trying to suck the clout. He's still trying to suck the clout off of No Jumper. And I gotta give it to him. He does a good job at clout sucking. He's a great clout sucker. He definitely gets people to care about what he's saying and doing, and you about to see why. There's no low he won't go.
Probably people feel the same way about me. But I would never wish jail on anybody, not even my enemy. You know what I mean?
I would.
Just, I don't know. That's just different.
Some people needs to be in jail. People that are abusing children, multiple repeat child abusers, they need to be in jail. They need to be locked up. They need to be in a cage. Yes, they do. People who can absolutely not function in society without hurting and harming other people violently, and they continuously do it over and over, they just need to be in jail. I'm just so sorry. Certain people needs to be in jail. People that hurts children over and over and over again, they're not rehabilitable. I actually think they deserve the death penalty, but listen, nobody put me in charge.
Who's been locked up before know that that's no place for humans. It's no place for humans.
It's a place for abusers and monsters.
But cousin BJ, peep this. This is what you was talking about. Who put the spell on Almighty? Peep this.
Look what he's fitting to
I
do.
got all types of little spiritistic things in this house. Hey, where's my Soul of Africa book? Hold on real quick.
Bucci mutes up and then he screams,
I rebuke.
Mom!
Listen, dude.
That's what he does. And then he's like,
That well. Like, I have all types of books with
Here he
like
goes.
incantations. This book right here, bro. When I freaking bought this book, bro, the dude at the store, the African was like, do not buy this book, bro.
Y'all, my uncle in the store was like, you don't, this is too much for you. No, don't do it. My uncle in the store was trying to tell him, don't mess with this book. Why? Because he knew what I know. First of all, this man has absolutely no idea what he's doing with that. You don't just stumble into a bookstore and buy just a random incantation book called Souls of Africa. Okay, even I freaking know that. You don't, no. That's stuff that you got to learn in the right way, in the right setting, and you got to be from the right, you can't just be summoning anybody's ancestors. Okay. First of all, and that's not what he's summoning. It's crazy what he's doing. Second of all, my uncle in the Africa bookstore, he knew. Another thing too, anything that you do to somebody out from this book is coming back on you. It's just the law. You have to start out by knowing that. You just have to start out by knowing the law. This man don't know the law and he don't know what he's getting into. And look at him. Taunting and teasing. Y'all, it ain't going to be long. It won't be long. It's sad. It's scary.
He was like, do not buy this book, bro. This is a book of rites and rituals. You can read it right there. Magical rites and traditions. Look at the back. Look at the back of the book. Do you see this book? This is not a joke.
No, it's not.
Understand that?
Nope. No, it's not.
Get in this book.
It's
bro.
not a joke.
I'm reading this.
So I don't know why this man is out here playing games like it's a joke. It's not a joke, and I rebuke. Me personally, I rebuke. And somebody said it in here. You don't need to do all that incantation and all that if you're just straight up like being as you are. I don't need to incant nothing. Anything I need to know just downloads right there to the pineal gland. Anything instantly that I need to know, it's right there. I don't have to do nothing. Anything that needs to walk in the way to protect me, it just does it. I don't have to even really ask. I just got to stay on the path. All this right here, no, this is terrible. This is terrible. And who's he doing this to? He's talking to almighty suspect who's already going through his own. Look, listen, you don't have to like him. You don't have to like him. I don't particularly, okay? But he's already catching his consequences, okay? He's already catching his consequences. This guy knows him personally. They have beef. So fine, whatever. Have your beef. But like he's the almighty suspect, probably finna go to jail. He's probably finna be in prison. He's getting in trouble right now. And so as all that's going on, that's when this one wants to dogpile and do Soul of Africa spells from the spell book. And the uncle told him, no, I don't want to sell you this. You're going to be,
Tonight. Listen, tonight. We are going into straight. We are going all. You guys, you're not a real Pan-African. Shit.
He gonna be cellmates
You
with
gonna
him.
see
Watch.
some shit. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. You see this?
I'm in the book, y'all.
Look at this. You scared? Y'all already scared. Y'all already scared. They even see.
I'm not.
Come on, bro.
I'm not scared. I tell you why. I'm not scared. I ain't scared of nothing and nobody. First of all, and nothing on this earth or elsewhere can defeat the one true God. That's who I'm here for and on the behalf of. But also, the person who should be scared is the person who has absolutely no idea what the hell they are dealing with. He's just, any old soul of Africa, let's just do the incantation spell to cast a spell. To cast a spell on almighty suspect. What? This is so degenerated. But this is the type of things they do. This is the type of things people do when they want to threaten you and they want to act crazy. And it's just like, you know what? I rebuke. No. He's about to say he's going to sacrifice a goat. That's whenever I was like, no, I got to respond. I got to react to this.
You going to see some shit. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. You see this?
I'm in the book, y'all.
Look at this. You scared? Y'all already scared. Y'all already scared.
I'm not scared.
Come on, bro.
Personally.
I sleep with shit like this in my house. Listen.
That explains some things.
We going full witchcraft on this nigga. It's over for this dude.
Right, cousin.
It's over. Let me take the cover off of that bitch.
What did I say?
You know when the book...
I was commenting in Naeem's live. I said, I'm getting danger from that book. No, thank you. The uncle in the store tried to tell him, my uncle, he tried to tell him, you don't want this one. Don't take this one.
No pictures. It just got the words on the top. It's over for... It's over for this dude.
Right, cousin.
It's over. Let me take the cover off of that bitch. Listen, you know when the book ain't got no pictures, it just got the words on the top. It's over for this dude. I'm going to just open a random page. We sacrificing goats and everything. Let's go, dude. Stop playing. You think 607 is more powerful than me? No, but
the one true God is, and the laws of nature are.
What Drewski say? We got him. We
Don't
got him
quote
right where we
Drewski
want him.
either. He's going to be in trouble soon too, I think.
We got him right. We got him
opinion.
right where we want him. Go look this book up. The African said, "Do not buy this book, my brother. I'm begging you."
So he should have took heed.
I said, what's
He was
the
begging.
price? What's the price?
The uncle in the store He's probably up at night knowing. He's like, dude, don't buy this book. I'm begging you. Here he is making it into content. It's all content till it's not. It's all content till that comes back on you, Soul of Africa. Oh my God.
Bitch had a little dust on it.
I rebuke,
Listen.
personally.
We got him right where we wanted. We got him right where we want him.
And see, that's my
Y'all
thing
see the
right there.
demon
Like,
face come
damn,
out?
fool, like content or what is we doing? Like,
Right.
we got him right where we want him. Like, what the shocking prison sentences hit no jumper. Almighty suspects 6
So
years.
the African
Brick
man in
baby,
the store
15
was
years.
right.
Like, what's to celebrate about that, man? That shit is shady. A fellow a fellow black man is being taken from his family, and you think that that's okay? Again, I don't have no
Just
problem with Gucci
like
or nothing.
full disclosure, I don't really know what Almighty Suspect did. I did try to look up his case today, but the records are not available online. If somebody is over there in California, in Southern California, in the I think it's I could tell you where. I could tell you exactly what it is. If you're over there around there, I could tell you where the courthouse is and stuff. If somebody wants to go pick up that the case paperwork so I can actually know what he actually did. I don't know what he actually did. But his arraignment is coming up in a couple weeks. If anybody wants to go over there and be the court reporter, let me know and I'll react to your video. But his arraignment's on the 30th. It's not at Stanley Mosque, it's another courthouse. Starts with a T. I don't remember. Torrance? Is that one of the court? I don't exactly remember. But yeah, so that's gonna be going on, and it's like, I don't know what he did. He might need to be in jail. I don't know what he did. I know it had something to do with tear gas. Allegedly, I haven't been following that like that. I just saw this yesterday with this spell, and I was like, no, we need to talk about it. This is crazy.
Yeah, we're gonna get into when I pulled up on this live or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no problem with Bucci, but that is wild to me. And I asked him that too. I said, yo, what's the deal with that? Like, are you doing content or what? Because crazy work to me.
My cousin Stina was in there too,
Again,
and he was like, what happened to just being regular? What happened to just being normal and regular person? Why we got to be doing this whole Africa book and threatening people and saying, ha, he, kiki.
Or prison on my worst enemies. And I mean that. Like, I just don't. I feel like let the Lord handle him however the Lord see fit. But I could never out of my mouth wish jail or hope jail on any man in general.
I could,
like,
if they are a child abuser multiple times, I absolutely could, and I will, and I'm not sorry. But that's just me.
I seen him the other night when you jumped on. Shit was funny. Yeah, shout out culture and perspective. We about to play that low key. We about to play that low key. Cause I just popped to you. Shout out the best chat on YouTube, man.
I'm gonna defend Almighty. I won't even be mean to you. I'll let. Neem, you want the link? You said you never call in. I'll give you an opportunity to come over and defend Almighty. I won't even be mean to you. I'll let you talk all you want to. Here, I'm gonna give you the link. Go ahead, Neem.
He said defend Almighty. Like, what? Like, all right, bro. Okay. And thank you for giving me the floor. Thank you. Big letters.
Go ahead, Neem. We playing prison rules.
Look at the
with
demon.
The universe, though.
Look at the demon. It's about to come out.
It's bigger than me.
It's about to start speaking. As soon as he says we play in prison rules, the altar switches into demon. Watch it.
Thank you. Big letters.
Go ahead, Neem. We playing prison rules.
Watch.
With the universe, though. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than me.
That's the truth. Yes,
yeah,
it is.
Of course. But first, everyone keeps saying, "Oh, say allegedly." I'm gonna just play the video where he said it. I mean, I guess there's a chance he might not end up going.
That's right, cousin BJ. I do the same thing. I'll be telling my family members that too. We're not supposed to have vengeance. That's not for us. You let the Lord do what the Lord is supposed to do. We don't have vengeance in our hearts.
It's coming back to you.
No.
There's
That's
nothing that doesn't come back.
Saudi.
Good or bad.
Bro is cooked.
This is cool for him.
I'm incorporating the power of all my witches to get to make sure this nigga.
I'm incorporating.
He's incorporating the power of all his witches like he got a coven or something. Does he have a coven or something? What do you mean he gets to summon the witches? I thought the witches gets to decide if they want to do something or not. And I already had the witches over here on my channel saying they're not going to let nobody do nothing bad to me. So you're not going to be incorporating nothing against me. But what is he talking to incorporate all the witches? Like, what in the Etsy spell hell is this? First of all, I'm not scared in any way. I'm not scared in any way. It just makes this man look deranged.
Power of all my witches. That's crazy. Okay, real quick, I'm gonna get the chat off the because I want y'all to see this. Look at how his chat talks, and that's why I got up here and made him tell the people, bro, we don't got no issue. Tell them this content because don't make people think that, you know what I'm saying? Don't make people think like they could get at me because they can't. Just being honest, and I don't look like that in person. I say that shit all the time. Like, first off, I get nothing but love out here because I give nothing but love. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of y'all, maybe some of y'all in the chat, I don't know, but it's people who see me in real life walking around LA, and I don't look like somebody who you just want to say crazy stuff to.
As
and that's
soon as
not
he
like
said,
me
I get
giving-
nothing but love, like that T.I. and Mano song is like stuck in my head now. I get nothing I get nothing but love now when I run through the hood, getting this fortune and fame. Money make all of us change. The new Benz, all white collar John McCain. Womp womp. Oh no. We froze.
threats or nothing. I'm not into it.
There we go.
Yeah, but I don't look, that's not, you don't see me and go, oh yeah, we're going to press Neem. That's not what you think in your head when you see me. It's just not. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to whoever this is in the chat. Neem was real nice when he seen Brandon at the Marathon Burger. I was because I have no reason to be mean. I was because I have no see me. He's like, oh, that's the guy from YouTube. And he was excited about it. Like most people who see me out in public are. They like, oh shit, it's Gangland Neem.
I don't get recognized
Not,
like
nobody's
that.
like, oh, Sam, what's up, homie? Or another, it's all love. You feel me? So yeah, Neem was real nice at Marathon Burger, and so was your leader. Your leader was extremely nice as well. So just throwing that out there. You know what I mean? Just throwing that out there. Let's continue.
His hairline is going to be non-existent. His hairline is going to be sitting back like the 2-yard line on the NFL football field.
I need somebody to
That man
explain
gonna
to
come-
me, first of all, whose butt and why we have to have a butt. Why is there, are we getting a little old for this? Can we move forward from like the butt out, everything butt out? Can we all just collectively, are we getting a bit old for the butt out? Whose butt? I don't want to look at a butt all the time, just out on it. Look, it's a nice butt. I ain't trying to, say like, she's, looks beautiful in 320p or whatever this is. But why we need a butt just advertised right there like that? They just got rid of the 420 props. They just got rid of the Happy Perk rug, and now it's butt skateboard. Come on.
Oh, just go ball, bro. Bro gonna come out looking like a salamander. Yes,
that
sir.
mean? Oh,
yes,
balls.
sir. Tell him who told you to buy it.
Grand champ,
This is
facts.
my guy.
He should have said, wait. He should have said, come out looking like Aunt Heffy. Who told him to buy it? Tell him who told him to buy it. Now I'm gonna have to go back to that live and see who told him to buy it, because he's like, who told you to buy it? Oh, it was this guy. Menkhepera the Great. I would like to see some proof, first of all. I need to see how he's living, because I bet you the African Soul Book done came back to bite him too, whoever Menkhepera the Great is. I would like to see some proof that he is the great. I would not be taking his advice until I see some more proof.
Hey, bro, chill.
This is
They
my
gotta chill.
The bro, no. Look, bro. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Come on. The bro is in the building. Stop playing with us. Stop playing with us. Don't ever underestimate.
That is my favorite song of all time. If anybody ever asks you, that is my favorite song of all time. All the above. That's my favorite song. I know every word. Yes, I do. I could rap it by heart right now if I wanted to, but I'm not. I love that song. I used to say I wanted to be the president. I
smarter.
definitely don't want to be the president. But I used to think I did. And I used to say I did. And I would say that whenever I'm getting inaugurated, I need them to come perform that song.
Chill.
The bro, no. Look, bro. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Come on. The bro is in the building. Stop playing with us.
He don't
Stop
know.
playing with us.
If he knew, he would not be acting like this.
Don't
that is for
ever
sure.
underestimate. I'm smarter than the average bear. Hey, boo boo. I don't know why I got a little crackling now.
But
I'm
not
doing a
smart
lot.
enough.
But anyway, come on, man. Let's play this. Let's let him admit that he's going
Bud
down,
Yeti facts.
and then we can go ahead and keep on even past crimes. Make sure this guy doesn't see the light of day for a good old time. I'm just saying.
When you feel me, so my
Institution or facility or whatever it's called for as long as possible. For as long as they can keep them without it falling under cruel and unusual punishment. This is just what
That shit not cool.
I'm gonna ask, okay? This is what I'm gonna ask. I will tell Newsom, or whoever's coming in, you will have my vote and the vote of at least 1,000 other blacks if you
I want to know
just
if
make
he's
sure
even
this guy
registered to vote. The way he cackles on, I just don't even know. I need to see their voter registration.
doesn't see the light of day.
I'm
for
not
a good old
registered in
time.
New Jersey.
I'm just saying.
I don't want to
you
vote
feel
in
me,
that
so
last
my
decrepit
first offer
election.
was 32. I caught this last one. You feel me? Then when I went to jail and I got out, now the next offer was 6. And that's just with that case. And now with the new one, and they telling me because I got them strikes that I can't run in concurrent.
Oh, and look how stupid he is. He was already fighting a case. He catches another case. They were gonna give him 32 months, right? That's
The Bucci video was yesterday or the day before yesterday. And this clip here was a few days before that, BJ.
So I was trying to
Cousin BJ
investigate the
said it's all
timeline.
content till it's 15 to life. Facts.
It's all content till it's
Facts.
15 to life.
You know what I'm saying? Or until some other
Until some other stuff. That's true.
straight up.
Straight up.
Y'all should be cool out here.
Hmm.
Be cool. It's all content. Enjoy the content. You know what I'm saying? Kicking a man while he's down is sad case, man. Facts. So he was casting all that. Like, what are you, bro? What are you doing? That's kind of crazy. 2 on the 40, he said, Neem say, I'm not saying that because I don't know what's going on, Scarf. You know you my dog, though. You know my dog. You got my jack. I'm not doing. Everybody was under the
listen, we ain't gonna be
under the impression that I wasn't gonna pull up. I mean, I don't know why I wouldn't
This
pull up
part is
doing
crazy.
that. Shout
This
out
is the part I
Scarfy,
wanted
though.
y'all to
That's my
hear.
dog. But let's get to this.
So
Let's
the
get
thing
to this,
they were
man.
trying to make my cousin say, Scarfy was saying, and I don't say it either, but it's so funny because do y'all remember Pee Wee Herman, the Pee Wee Playhouse guy? He had this like floating head. It was like very culturally appropriative, if I do say so myself. And it was like it was like a genie, quote, and it would wear like a turban with like a thing on it, like a feather on it or something. And it was like a fortune teller, genie, character, sidekick type of thing. And he would come up on like a TV or a crystal ball or something. He would always say this, like, what I truly do believe is some type of spell, like some type of like Mecca, something, hiney ho, something. I'm not going to say the whole thing, but I did this video on BJ Investigates about Pee Wee Herman. And I actually had my editor blur out, like bleep out like the things that the genie was saying. And I said, like, do not try to say this at home. Cause I just got a weird feeling about it. Like it's saying like, Mecca and like, you know, some of these words that I do know have some meaning, and I don't really know where those words originated from, and I don't know how if you mix those words up with other ones, I don't know. I do not know. But I'm not trying to just say any and every old thing. Okay, I'll tell you that. So I just like blurred it out. I had my editor blur it out. And people were like, "Why did you take that out?" And I don't know, something about it just felt unsettling. Like I don't want to unleash it upon the world. And it was literally exactly that exact same phrase somebody tried to get Name to say yesterday, and he was like, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I don't know what that is, but thank you for the super chat. I'm like, that's how you know that's my cousin.
Because everybody was under the impression that I wasn't going to pull up. I mean, I don't know why I wouldn't pull up, you know? The
John
hell?
B.
It's
His
all
name was
content,
John B.
y'all.
We gonna have some prayers up, all right.
Listen to this.
But we ain't gonna be we ain't gonna be praying to who you think we praying to. And we ain't gonna be praying for nothing good for this dude.
We ain't going to be praying to who you think we should be praying to. And we ain't going to be praying nothing good for this dude.
That's crazy. We ain't.
I only pray to one person, brother.
I only pray to the one true God, and that's that on that. I pray to the one true. Oh my God! I only pray to the one true God who has many names, who has many forms, because he or she is unlimited. Okay, unlimited. We can't even perceive or fathom. All right. What I'll tell you is that's not what Bucci the Bear is praying to. Listen what he just said. It was shocking. What the hell is he doing? What the hell?
We ain't going to be praying to who you think we should be praying to.
Wait.
And we ain't going to be praying nothing good.
We praying to. And we ain't gonna be praying for nothing.
Pull up, you know? The hell? It's all content, y'all.
We gonna have some prayers up, all right. But we ain't gonna be, we ain't gonna be praying to who you think we praying to. And we ain't gonna be praying for nothing good for this dude.
We ain't going to be praying to who you think we should be praying to. And we ain't going to be praying nothing good for this dude.
What?
I only pray to one person, brother. I only pray to one person.
All that other stuff.
I don't even know. I rebuke that.
I do too.
You hear me? I rebuke that.
I rebuke that too.
I say I rebuke that.
I say I rebuke that too.
My boy. I only pray to one person, gang. That shit right there says so much. Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. That's out. That's out.
I might say, you know what? Do everything but take his life.
Whoa.
Do everything but take his life. Who knows? But somebody said he lying. Hey, if he is lying, he's dumb as hell. But these court cases are serious because he was already dealing with one. And then he got another one. And he has priors. So I don't know. But Gascon is gone. Oh, Gangland Neem is in the building. I'll never call into that show. Go ahead, man. And remember.
And really quick, man. For the record, I didn't say I'll never call into that show. I said I don't call into his show because I don't. I'll be in there supporting. Y'all know this about me.
What I will say.
Y'all be seeing me in the chat. I'll be seeing y'all in the chat doing all kind of dash.
My cousin can do what he wants. He's grown and he's been at this for a while. What I would say is do not supply your energy to that demonic person over there. What are you doing? Listen. You can do what you want. You're grown. You can go anywhere you want. You can talk to anybody you want. But I'm just going to say I think you're above it. And that's not saying I think you're above him, although actually it is. I actually do think that. But just mostly spiritually, the man is deranged. But the reason I want to show y'all that is to just show y'all that this man nothing is beneath him, right? Like, I mean, even if he's just joking, like that's not something I would joke about. That's not something I think is funny to joke about. But I'm thinking about like almighty suspect, right? Like he's going to jail. And it's been widely speculated or he has been arrested. He's been put in jail, but then he got out. I think he had a $308,000 bail, 380, something like that. But he's going to be arraigned in October. And he's been making the rounds on the podcast, kind of acting like, he's going to be serving some time, like up to maybe 6 years, maybe more. So all this is going on. And I just remember like the last couple years of him getting in little dramas here and there. You know, there was like the watch situation where he was slapping his hands together, clapping, and the watch like flew out. And it was like, you know, he had really gotten a little bit too worked up. He had allowed himself to get a little too worked up. But I just like think that the people on No Jumper do it on purpose because they're trying to do views and clout. So I don't really have any way of knowing if it's like people are actually getting that worked up. But like there's been other incidents with Almighty Suspect. Like he was Brandon Bucci the Bear called him a B word a few months ago, and they got into a physical altercation on stream. And I do just wonder, you know, was the getting into the physical altercation in any way related to this situation where he's about to get in criminal trouble? Because the whole thing was that Almighty Suspect had already gotten into a fight. Y'all remember? Put a 1 in the chat if you remember Almighty Suspect getting into a fight with Little Kelpie. And he beat Little Kelpie up. Why did he beat Little Kelpie up on stream, on camera, and it was blood and everything? Well, because Little Kelpie called Almighty Suspect a bitch. Then it ended up getting discussed over and over about how Almighty Suspect, dad had told him, his dad had said, you know, don't let any man call you a bitch. Don't let anybody call you a bitch. It's like, okay, like good advice from dad and all of that. But like, maybe like, did your dad know you were going to be like on a podcast and like possibly facing like criminal consequence? Like, you know, there's things to consider here. And it's just like, he has this, like, nobody can call me a rule or whatever. And it's like, okay, fine. Well, then Brandon the Bucci the Bear, who's apparently got a white or a pink belt in jiu-jitsu or something, he also apparently allegedly used to be a cop. I don't know if that's true or if that was debunked, but that was a rumor going around for a while. He decides to push Almighty Suspect's buttons by doing exactly the thing that Almighty Suspect has said he's not going to let other people do. He's already been in a physical confrontation, a physical fight with someone else for when they called him that. So Brandon the Bucci the Bear has already been given exactly the keys to the kingdom on how to piss off Almighty Suspect. Then end up being Almighty Suspect gets kind of like fired or let go from No Jumper, and Brandon the Bucci the Bear comes in and takes his spot. So it was like, some people are saying that was a setup the whole time. And it's like, you can't let you got to play poker with this. You just showing everybody your cards and then acting accordingly. You don't have to act as expected. Look at this. And just think about everything I just told you and consider this. This is a tweet of an underground, undercover investigation. Somebody had posed as a gay man, or maybe it was a gay man. I don't know, is a gay man, posed as a gay man and went on a date with this supposed CIA officer. CIA officer explains how the government baits and tricks people into committing crimes. You don't say the CIA, the government would do that. You don't say. They create posts and then have fake social media profiles, respond to the post in a way that will trigger their target. Is that true? They create posts and have fake social media profiles respond to the posts in a way that will trigger their target and push them, quote, to where they have no choice but to act on their impulse. Listen to that. I'm going to play the video. Listen to what I'm trying to tell you. If you have not looked into COINTELPRO, the FBI operation wherein they infiltrated political movements, including the Black Panther Party, with government ops, I highly suggest that you familiarize yourself with it, because it hasn't stopped. And that wasn't the first time it started. I was in Name's chat today, and I saw some people trying to bait me. I know y'all saw it too. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all saw it too. They're trying to break us apart. It's always BJ's a racist. Why does BJ want to talk about black stories? BJ's a racist, but the person is telling me I can't talk about something based on the color of my skin, but I'm the racist. Okay, all right, whatever you freaking say, spook. I know y'all saw it. I see the ones. I know y'all saw it. And it's way beyond a honey pot. It's way beyond. A honey pot is a I'll refrain from saying any names, but it would be like a woman who does sexual things with men and records it and gets intel and gets information. This ain't even a woman. This is just any old bot online. The CIA could be doing it, okay? That's why I say half the people on No Jumpers probably spooks. That means undercover informants and operatives and assets for the feds. And not only the feds, I mean, that's the least of our concerns. They could be undercover informants and operatives for other nation states. Because if you actually specifically analyze all of the different types of people on No Jumper, and you get a little bit in your tinfoil brain, a little bit in the schizophrenia mindset, like I got a little touch of it. Haven't been ever formally diagnosed, but who knows? Who knows what could happen? When you actually look at who's on the show and what the values are that they're trying to push, what the values are that they are trying to also tear down, it starts to look a little bit like it could be foreign interference. Who stands to gain from white people and black people hating each other in this country? Because it ain't the white people and the black people in this country. We're ripping our shit apart over race wars. That ain't helping us. It certainly isn't helping our kids. It certainly isn't helping the millions of biracial people. It ain't helping nobody over here. Who's it helping? Who does it help for us to be going at each other like this? Not us. Certainly not us. I'm not talking about bringing attention to things that are truly disparities. I'm not talking about anything like that. I'm talking about people can't even talk about a story because somebody in the story is black and I'm white. There's operatives and spooks in all y'all's comment sections. That's why I'm block happy. I will block you if you sneeze the wrong way from across the world. Because I just can't know who's who. And look, they telling on themselves on these little dates. Look, a honeypot. A honeypot indeed. The person who's getting this information from this inflamed beast. Look at this thing. I don't want to even think about what's on its hard drive. You could tell a tree by the fruit it bears. Look at him. Listen what he's about to say.
You can kind of put anyone in jail if you know what to do.
You can put anyone in jail if you know what to do. That's the first word. You can kind of put anyone in jail if you know what to do. So what is it? What is it to do? This is warfare, everybody. Wake up. You set them up.
You create the situation to where they have no choice but to act on their impulse. And once they act on that impulse, then we call that entrapment. We call it a nudge. A nudge.
Look how giddy, happy. Look how giddy and excited he is from setting us up, everybody. I got something to let you know about. COINTELPRO didn't just get black people. They go after but it's called counter activism. Who stands to gain from tearing us apart? Who stands to gain from if we work together? It's us. Listen, look how happy he is. It's not entrapment. It's a nudge, girl. It's a nudge. Isn't that so funny? It's not entrapment. It's not entrapment if it's just a nudge. Queen. Sinister. You have to create the situation where they have no choice.
We call it a nudge.
You have to create a situation where they have no choice. You set them up, he said. You set them up. You create a situation where they have no choice but to act on the impulse. Think about the last week. Think about the last month of your life. Think about the last year. Have you been being set up? Who are these nameless, faceless accounts? Have you ever met them? They might have been in your comments for a while. Do you know who they are? Because you know who I am. I'm out here. I'm verifiable. I done been doxxed. You can find where I live. You can find where I went to school. There's baby pictures of me out here. Who are these people trying to sow discord? I got a video coming. I got a whole investigation coming on the person on the account that's been trying to drive a wedge between me and my cousin Naeem. Whole video coming. And you know who you are. Account. I ain't stupid. This ain't my first freaking rodeo, and it damn sure ain't my first time around the block. I've been doing activism on a global scale for about coming up on 6 years. And I'm very successful. People have sent me fake, deep, fake porn, fake of my ops trying to get me to share it. People have sent me offers to do stuff. People are always trying to get in oh my God, people are always trying to get in my business. I get a new email every other day. Oh, I want to do a documentary interview. Can we come to your house? We want to manage you. These are what we could do. It's obviously a robot done wrote it. Half of it's just people trying to make money and grifting. Listen to this man. He is telling you what they do. You make it impossible for them not to act. How many times have we acted because somebody tried to make us act? That's why, you're not going to get me. Nope. Nope. I'm not going to be threatened. Nope. You ain't going to set me up, bitch. They done tried. My reputation's unimpeachable. Unimpeachable. Yep. Just like in my other cousin Stino. The other night in Stino's live, he was reacting to my video and some rando just jumped in and said, this channel's compromised. It's the stupidest, craziest thing. Come on. You set him up, he said.
You create the situation to where they have no choice but to act on their impulse.
Gavin O'Blinnis.
Then we call that entrapment. We call it a nudge.
It's just a nudge.
A nudge. A nudge. Sometimes you just gotta give them a quick little, just to see what happens, right?
And how does that happen?
You put a post out there.
Put a post out.
Or you have someone fake profile, say
Fake
something
profile.
that triggers.
Say something that triggers.
Like we already know.
There is a person who I believe
You're like, oh, this will piss them off.
is being paid. Look, he said, yeah, we put something up. We're like, oh, that'll piss him off. We put something up and like, oh, that'll piss him off. Put a 1 in the chat. Hold on. I think my thing's on slow mode. Did somebody turn it on slow mode? Can you turn it off slow mode? I don't like that. Unless I tell somebody put it on slow mode or unless you check with me, can y'all not do that? I don't know if it is on slow mode, so it might not be what's going on, but I don't like that. I feel like the comments aren't coming in on the live stream. So I'm checking that. And I also don't know how this live chat replay keeps getting turned back on. If people are doing that, can you stop turning that on? I turned it off on purpose. This is the 3rd time I've turned off live chat replay on this. So if it's a mod or something, let me know. If it's not a mod, let me know also, because I don't know why that keeps being done. I need to just check this chat. Oh my God, point and shoot, put up a new video, thank God. Oh my God, so much is going on in the YouTube streets. Sean Paul Reyes is suing the mayor for a defamation lawsuit, and then Naeem is alive right now. Okay, what was I doing here? Oh yeah. I want to turn my chat on. Off the slow mode. It feels like it's in the slow mode. I want to turn my chat on. Moderation activity, pop outs and community moderation. It's not showing. I guess it's not on. Okay. Anyway. All right. So I don't know. I'll have to check into that because I've had a couple of people text me too saying that their comments are. Yeah. Suddenly Kel on Earth can't see the chat. Yeah, probably because I'm exposing the CIA. I'm not sorry about it. Y'all are doing this. Y'all are letting your own agents get compromised like this. Look how stupid y'all look. Look how stupid you look. The shit y'all do to other people is getting done to y'all, and now we all know. Jesus. Gavin O'Blinnis, CIA contracting officer.
Sometimes you like to fuse and just wait for it to follow. Nothing like putting on a fake social media thing to like really get people mad.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. The CIA contractor Gavin O'Blinnis said there's just nothing like putting something fake on social media to get people really mad. You know, I was just thinking about what you could put on social media to get people really mad. And it might be something like casting an evil demon spell on a man who just brought his baby on the no jumper. I don't know. It's just things to think about. Have you fallen for a trap or a trick lately? Have you fallen for a honeypot lately? I know y'all like to look at these big booties on the skateboards and stuff, but are you maybe letting your lust get a little bit ahead of you? Are you trusting agent provocateurs? Are you trusting agent provocateurs maybe because they look like you? So you've just been programmed to trust them, but really what they're doing is ripping apart the fabric of our civilization. I don't know. There's things to think about. Yes, it was one of the O'Keefe undercover it sure was. That's what it was. So we got the CIA, Gavin O'Blennis, CIA contracting officer, former FBI San Diego, out here basically admitting that they do exactly what I already have experienced. There is an account on Twitter who wakes up and logs in every day and does nothing all day but tweets about me. Nothing all day. There is a hit piece about me out there. There's a hit piece, a mainstream media hit piece about me. And that's how you know somebody's telling the truth, when they got a bunch of hit pieces about them. Okay. There's a hit piece about me, and the main investigator that was in charge of fact checking was also a former FBI. He actually was like head of counterterrorism or something during 9/11 in New York. High up. He was calling my phone about the hit piece, trying to interview me, trying to get me at the table, at a lunch table or a dinner table with the CEO of the documentary, the company, who's former FBI, not former FBI, former, what's it called? District attorney, assistant district attorney, former federal prosecutor. And she got the former FBI counterterrorism guy calling a fact check on me. Oh, that's interesting. And there's fake accounts online saying fake stuff about me. Oh, that's interesting. And there's whole other accounts of sociopathic, deranged lunatics who truly I am entitled to restraining orders against, and I might start going after. I don't know. We'll see. Who don't do nothing all day but make videos about me, talking about me. It's like, who's paying these people? Because I never spoke to them and we never met. I know when I'm looking at a spook and an asset. I know when I'm looking at one. It's not my fault other people don't know. But I'm trying to impart some wisdom on y'all. Kira said, I went to my ex-boyfriend talking like surprise witness, and guess who won the argument? It was probably you. So also, I've had people, one of those same deranged clowns, demonic lunatics who's literally freaking so obsessed with me. He cannot go one single day without talking about me. So obsessed, he went on the documentary and lied about me. Not him. Other liars who went on the documentary and lied about me filed fake, false, perjurious, fake, false declarations against me. And one of them even recanted her declaration, called into court and said, I was told to lie. This all happened to me. So there's really no conspiracy theory too big for me to believe that people wouldn't be trying to set you up. Now, do I think it was the CIA in particular? Kinda. I'm just put it out there. I kind of do. I kind of think they might have been funding an experimental mind control program. I think that. That's my belief. In my opinion, I'm allowed to think it. That's kind of what I think. And they thought they were going to be able to trigger me like I ain't already been dealing with worse than them from my own freaking family members since before I hit puberty. Okay. Like I ain't been dealing with worse than them. You ever grew up with a family member that don't really like somebody else and it just causes a whole bunch of, you know what I mean? The ones who've been around now, you're not going to get me. I'm unimpeachable. The only thing you're going to do is keep giving me evidence to share with we the people who you work for because y'all forgot. Or somebody never told you. I told you I'm packed up, prayed up, ready to go up. And if you try to get me, I'm going to be like a mama spider. The mama spider and 1,000 babies are going to come out. 1,000 babies are going to be on your freaking ass. Okay. Please do not contact anybody mentioned in this video. This video is meant to report on a matter of public concern. But if you want to know my opinion, that's really what I think. I think it was a CIA funded project for mind control. Yes, I do. It was referred to as reprogramming to rewire the brain. We rewire the brain. She can't leave. If she leaves, she faces 5 years in prison. That's what I believe. That's my belief. I'm allowed to believe whatever I want in the United States of America. And you know what? I'm about $800,000 in legal debt to stand for it. I haven't lost a lawsuit for defamation once, and I ain't going to. All these fake, fraudulent, phony restraining orders. Also, I never lost any of those either. I won every single one. They tried to get restraining order against me in California. They owe me $100,000 almost, 98, 99 something. Non-FDA approved virtual reality technology that was being used on vulnerable populations, including a homeless Black woman. I guess I'm racist for covering that too. I guess I'm racist for telling y'all they lied about how she died too. And that brings me back to Mark Laita. He's the one that had that on his show. He's the one that had Amanda Rabb on his show. He's the one that had the company on his show. He's the one that asked the public to give money along with Lima Yevrimovich. And she sat up there and said that Amanda Rabb's cause of death was marked as a seizure disorder. False. Not true. That was false. I got sued for telling the people that that was false. A true statement. A true statement. It was true when I said it, and it's true today. They lied. Amanda Rabb's cause of death was not marked as a seizure disorder. It was marked as cardiac arrhythmia. Why did they give a false cause of death? I still am wondering. It's been 3 years ago. More. Still wondering. Why is it that Mark Laita can post and publish things he publishes and it's not considered to be illegal? I mean, I don't know. These are questions I have. Is he protected? Is Adam Grant Mason? Why is it that 5011 people done got arrested off his show and not him? 5011 people done left his show and died and not him. It's just things to think about when you're moving along your way, especially in the demonic city of Los Angeles, California. I ain't saying everybody in that city is demonic. I'm talking to y'all. I'm talking to the cousins. Who stands to gain from you losing your temper and flashing out? Oh, nobody gonna call me a bitch. Okay, well, I guess you can take 6 to 10 now. You got to pick your battles and you got to know what hills to die on. You have agent provocateurs, in my opinion, like Brandon Bucci the Bear out here. Casting magical spells, saying they're praying to something that's not God. I think trying to incite a reaction. I think it's psychological warfare, and I think some people need to wake up. That's all I really had for this one. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation, neither are opinions. Don't listen to nothing I say because I'm just a girl on the internet. I truly don't know any of these people. I've never met them and I don't want to. It's just patterns, okay? I don't know if it's true. It's things to think about, and I would like to invite you to think about it. The COINTELPRO, C-O-I-N, like the word coin. Tel, T-E-L, P-R-O, C-O-I-N-T-E-L-P-R-O, C-O-I-N-T-E-L-P-R-O, COINTELPRO. The files are all unclassified, declassified, and unsealed. Go look them up. Love you, Mina K. Bye.